Program and does not necessarily express the views and opinions of Urban Broadcast Media and its subsidiaries.
Thank you for listening to UBM Praise.
Let's go.
Sir Walter Jones.
Who is it?
Sir Walter Jones.
What's his name?
Sir Walter Jones.
Whose show is this?
Sir Walter Jones.
Who is it?
Sir Walter Jones.
Say it again.
Sir Walter Jones.
Who you with?
Sir Walter Jones.
One more again.
Sir Walter Jones.
The Sir Walter Jones Show. Co-host Alvin Carter. We are a Christian talk show in where we tackle all the hot topics in a believer's walk. Wednesday is Music Business Night. We feature new and old artists. We talk about the music ministry in churches, choirs, musicians, music directors, etc. And we talk about publishing, record deals, ASCAP, etc.
Sir Walter Jones.
Who is it?
Sir Walter Jones.
What's his name?
Sir Walter Jones.
Whose show is this?
Sir Walter Jones.
Who is it?
Sir Walter Jones.
Say it again.
Wednesday.
Soul Train VTR 12273, take one.
Hi, I'm Don Cornelius, and what you're about to see is a very special program.
Soul Train wasn't just one of the longest-running shows ever. It was also the coolest.
Soul Train was the show.
It had the hippest conductor.
Big Don, the first intellectual funk master.
Hey there, and welcome aboard for an absolutely mind-blowing voyage of the Soul Train.
Who showed the world what to listen to.
The Jackson 5.
Shaka Khan.
Stevie. Marvin Gaye.
Soul Train was a breaking point for all of the black artists in the 70s.
Anytime I come to Soul Train, it's a gas, and I'm home.
What to wear.
Platforms, bell-bottoms, afros, big afros.
Nice wig you got on there, brother.
And most importantly, how to get down.
You want to get the latest dances, so you would watch Soul Train in the morning, and then at night they would have a party and everybody, come and be ready to lock it out,
From Sly to Snoop, dashikis to do-rags, locking to poppin', get on the line, because this train's about to leave the station.
When the aliens come in about 2,000 years and they want to see what was going down in black life, they can watch all episodes of Soul Train. That's how we got down.
This is Soul Train, the hippest trip in America. You dig?
Been a long time coming, but tonight, change has come to America.
We're living in a time right now where we have an African-American president of the United States of America. We all have to flash back to a time when this was the most remote kind of dream.
I have a dream.
People couldn't use the hotel motel apart from Texas across to Florida to Maryland. We couldn't use the single public toilet. It's humiliating.
The goal of the demonstrations in Selma is to dramatize the existence of injustice.
Yet somehow we turn that pain into power.
Born and bred on the south side of Chicago, Don Cornelius spent his early life immersed in the civil rights struggles of the 60s.
Growing up in Chicago, I was inspired by people like Jesse Jackson. He sort of came to town at the behest of Martin Luther King to start to organize.
Don was a news reporter, so Dr. King would have these rallies. Don would report, so Don was very connected to the civil rights movement.
Chicago at that time, there were riots going on. Martin Luther King even said that Chicago had a unique kind of racism.
That searing racism Don experienced in Chicago was reflected in what he was seeing on television.
The problem is that the Negro in this country today stands for venereal disease, prostitution, the numbers racket, and crime.
It was a medium that didn't feature minorities in a positive way, and it bothered me personally.
There were no black people in media. There were no nightly newscasters that were black. You really didn't have a national representation of black youth, except insofar as it was on the nightly news as urban unrest and protest. You only saw black youth narrated that way.
I had a burning desire to see black people presented on television in a positive light.
In 1968, Don landed a part-time hosting gig at WCIU, the only local TV station with programming that targeted Chicago's large black population.
I was thrown into a situation where they were making television shows, and I saw that as a potential opportunity because I felt I could do it.
Over the next couple of years, Don formulated an idea for his own TV show.
The principal inspiration for Soul Train was American Bandstand and Dick Clark. I wanted to do a black bandstand.
While American Bandstand was the most popular music and dance show of the 1960s, it gave little exposure to black artists.
It was just hard to get on shows like American Bandstand because they were mostly white-oriented.
I've completely forgotten who's next. Is it Gladys Pips and the Knights?
After over a year of meetings, Don not only convinced his bosses at WCIU of the viability of a black American Bandstand, he walked away with ownership.
I was fully open to them saying, sign here, and this belongs to us. I would have said, no problem. But they didn't say.
Overnight, Don had become one of the first African Americans to own a TV show. The premiere episode hit the Chicago airwaves on August 17th, 1970.
Soul Train, the hippest trip in America. 60 non-stop minutes over the tracks of your mind into the exciting world of soul.
It had a very local look to it. We didn't have color cameras. Part of the reason why we don't have archival footage of the show we did on Channel 26 is because they never got taped.
But what it lacked in polish, it made up for in flavor.
When it came on, it was overnight hot. Almost in minutes, every black person in town knew about it. Not because it was such a wonderful show, but because it was theirs.
It was like, wow, look at this. It gave us something to look at, to see some diversity, and to see ourselves.
You did three things when you got out of school. You watched Soul Train, Speed Racer, and the Three Stooges. Not necessarily.
Hello, everybody. It's Sir Walter, the Sir Walter Jones Show. I am he. It is Wednesday, Music Business Day. Sit around the mic and talk about music. We've been doing some very interesting things on our show over the past couple of weeks. We've been doing mental illness and music, the music business, entertainment, artistry, those who seem to be eccentric, eclectic, and all of these other E words. And it seems like mental illness, coughing because it looks like there's some illness hitting me right now. Feel a virus about to attack my body, but I bind it. But we did a show last week on the mental illness series. First of all, we did Donny Hathaway, and we talked about the struggle with schizophrenia. It was a very interesting show. You can go on Spreaker.com if you're not there already and check that show out. It really helped us understand his struggle, his mental struggle, but it also helped us see the genius in his music. The next day, we did the bipolar situation that Nina Simone was dealing with. It was later. Well, it was kind of changed to bipolar. It was manic depression, and the name kind of changed. I guess things became politically correct. And we did her show on Tuesday, which is Women's Night, and we really exposed a lot of the things you didn't know about her. And it was inspired by the show called What Happened, Miss Simone, or something like that. And it was a poem by Maya Angelou, and it hit Netflix, and I watched it, and I was moved by it, and I thought I'd do the show. Well, today and yesterday we did Leandria Johnson. She called in and we talked about her pain, her struggle, and now she's a pastor, winning the third season of BET Sunday's Best with Kirk Franklin, and that was a very interesting show. And we talked about the pain and how to properly judge people who are going through, and to help them to restore. Today, we're going to Don Cornelius. And we're talking about suicide versus Don Cornelius. Don Cornelius has been dead for a few years now, but so have Nina Simone and Donny Hathaway and, the others that we've done. But the reason why I'm bringing these up is because a lot of our people who work in the ministry, as we do, are dealing with these things. They don't always tell you, and they don't always show it to you, but they're dealing with it. They're fighting with it. And some of us don't know that they are until something tragic happens, like a suicide. And suicide was not a problem in the black community. You just didn't hear about it much at all, okay? And when you did hear about it, you were shocked. There were two things that you didn't hear about in the black community. That was homosexuality and suicide. That's just something you just didn't. You ignored it. If you did hear about it, you just kind of ignored it because it's taboo. But now, more and more and more of us are being affected by both of those and many other things, and we definitely want to talk about it. And some of you probably asking, well, why? This is a Christian show. Why are you doing Don and Soul Train? Well, I'm focusing on the mentality of people as we walk and talk with them in our Christian walk. Many Christians, trust me, if you're baby boomers or if you are Generation X like myself, you watch Soul Train. That's something you had to do on Saturday. Even if you were in a very strict, holy family, where you were either apostolic, Kojic, or somewhere in the Pentecostal family, you snuck and saw it. Because in actuality, my parents never said we couldn't watch it, nor did they say we could watch it. We just watched it. And we didn't watch it with them either. They were either out or they were in the front room, and we were in our bedroom watching the afros and seeing what's the new style of the day. We wanted to see all of the paisley colors that we might be able to wear after the summer break is out. How am I going to kill them, knock them dead when I get to school come September? And Soul Train helped us understand the style of the day, and not just the style of the dress style, but also the dance moves. I mean, I could pop lock like nobody's business. Now, if I tried now, I might faint, break a bone or something like that. I have in the studio, I'm honored to have my son here, Walter Jones Jr. How you doing, son?
I'm doing great, sir.
All right. Man, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. You must act like you know what a mic is, because, most of my guests, they be back here. Yeah, I'm doing fine. How are you? You doing fine? Okay, I do good. Like, come to the mic, please.
Yeah, I'm not too afraid of the mic.
Yeah. What you doing in Atlanta, by the way, so the folk can know?
Right now I'm producing, doing a lot of hip hop and R&B stuff, and I'm playing drums actually as well. Doing a lot of corporate stuff, traveling a little bit. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I'm doing.
And that has been your love for quite some time, right?
Music is been my whole life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Life.
Yeah. Why is that though?
I would think one reason would probably be it's in my blood. One.
Yeah.
And I think music is just a connection that everyone has. I think most people have a connection with music, if not all. If it's spiritual or just kind of like how you discussed in during your concert on Monday.
Sure. What would you think the highlight of that would be? I mean, the whole focal point. If you wanted to sum up the concert, what would you think it would be? How would you sum up the concert, and what is it that the people walked away from that? What do you think they should have gotten from that concert from Monday night?
I think the people there really had a new appreciation for I want to say the black music,
Mm-hmm.
because they probably didn't realize how much other races were really into our music. I don't really think that they really understand how deep it really went.
That's true.
And with the reactions that you got, it was like it was a confirmation that they really didn't know.
They didn't know.
So when I feel like when they walked away, they walked away with a new appreciation for our black culture musically, and I think they will go home and research all of the names and all the different time periods that you talked about. Monday night.
Yeah. And then what they did was they saw us perform that music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Matthew Hunter, who sung that opera tune, Ave Maria. You would have expected him to say Ave Maria, but no, he said. Oh!
But really, I expected that just because I knew the song.
Yeah, exactly. You have to sing it that way.
Yeah, if I didn't hear it that way, I probably would have felt a little weird, just because I've heard it so many times.
Right.
And I've heard it
done that way.
Done that way, and not in a lower octave.
Yeah,
I haven't heard it that way.
Yeah, and I purposely didn't pick a woman for it. I wanted to pick him for that particular song because I wanted to show the people the diversity in African American music. And then a couple other ones came and they sang in their own style. They took different songs and they sang them in their style, but in that genre, you know. But you saw that one white brother in the audience on the guitar, Carl.
Yes, sir.
Benz, okay, a friend. He belongs to my church, but you see how the expression on his face, and you saw how even he was asking questions like, you know, because I pretty much said that a lot of the white audience have taken our music and they ran with it, and we have abandoned it.
That's right.
You go to the average jazz club or concert or a blues concert, and it's 95 to 99% white.
That's right.
And we're not there anymore.
Even in the South.
In the South, yeah, especially. Yeah, so something happened. We're not appreciative. And you're in hip-hop music, okay? And it has always been this, that most of the people who buy hip-hop music are whites. It's those white young people. The money that somebody like Snoop Dogg or whoever the new cats on the block right now, it's the white audiences that keep them going because they're the ones that purchases. Yes, we might burn or download illegally, and most of them they will actually purchase.
They will purchase and sell out the shows.
And sell out the shows.
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's just the way it is. So I purposely had him on because eventually, as we talk more about Soul Train, we will see how Don Cornelius, a business genius who have really inspired and launched many people's career, whether they were behind the scenes, they were on camera, they were set designers. He launched the careers, of course, of many musicians, and the musicians who were already famous in a sense, like Motown people, but he put them in places that Don Cornelius put them in places quicker than they could have on their own. He also launched the dancing careers of many people, the pop lockers. You know, Don Cornelius exposed them. Even Rerun from What's Happening, he launched his career, at least his dancing career. And so, you know, you'll hear in the story even Shalimar, the group Shalimar. That's Don Cornelius. September 27, 1936. We lost him February 1st, 2012. I'll never forget it. Was an American television show host and producer who was best known as the creator of the nationally syndicated dance and music franchise Soul Train, which he hosted from 1971 until 1993. I mean, that's a long span. All right. Eventually, Cornelius sold the show to Mad Vision Entertainment in 2008. He was born in Chicago South Side, 1936. Okay, South Side. All right, and raised in the Bronzeville neighborhood, right here where we are. I can throw a rock and hit his house from where our studio is today. After graduating from DuSable High School in 1954, he joined the United States Marine Corps and served 18 months in Korea. He worked at various jobs following his stint in the military, including selling tires and automobiles and insurance as an officer with the Chicago Police Department, CPD. Shout out to you guys out there. He quit his day job to take a 3-month broadcast career, a course that is in 1966. Despite being married with 2 sons and having only $400 in his bank account, in 1966 he landed a job as an announcer, news reporter, and disc jockey on radio station WVON, which is the voice of the Negro, y'all. That's AM. VON is still going on strong, and at that time, talk radio was information for the African American community. We had those people who educated us. I think Big Doc Bill or whatever his name was, and I see Cliff. What's that man's name? I always pop up and see him at the restaurants over here. Cliff, he'll come to me in a minute. But these are VON. Even Dr. Finney, Leon Finney, who owns this radio station, he is also on VON. But Cornelius joined television station WCIU TV. I think that might be channel 26 here, in 1967, and hosted a news program called A Black Views on the News. In 1970, he launched Soul Train on WCIU TV as a daily local show. The program entered national syndication and moved to Los Angeles the following year. Eddie Kendricks, Gladys Knight, and the Pibbs, Bobby Hutton, and Honeycomb. You know what the Honeycomb sang? Matter of fact, I did the Mary version. I'm gonna get myself together. They borrowed that from the Honeycomb.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They call it the One Ads or something like that. Yeah. Cliff Kelly. Thank you, Shauna. He dines at Leona's restaurant almost every day, right up the street here in Hyde Park. So originally a journalist and inspired by the civil rights movement, Cornelius recognized that in the late 1960s there was no television venue in the United States for soul music, he'll tell his story as we continue to talk about his situation. But dementia, we want to couple this show by talking about his life and then talking about the illness. In the early mornings of February 1st, 2012. And we'll get to that in just a minute, but we want to highlight this situation with dementia. Is also known as senility. We hear somebody say he's senile. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Senility is a broad category of brain disease that causes a long-term and often gradual decrease in the ability to think and remember, such that a person's daily function is affected. Other common symptoms include emotional problems with language, and a decrease in motivation. A person's consciousness is not affected. For the diagnosis to be present, it must be a change from a person's usual mental function and a greater decline than one would expect due to aging. These diseases also have a significant effect on a person's caregivers as well. The most common type of dementia is Alzheimer's disease, which makes up 50% to 70% of the cases. Other common types include vascular dementia, 25%, Lewy body dementia, 15%, and frontotemporal dementia. Less common causes include normal pressure, hydrocephalus, Parkinson's disease, syphilis, and a word I can't even name, Creutzfeldt Jakob disease, and y'all will correct me online. More than one type of dementia may exist in the same person. Ooh, more than one in the same person. That's like a family of demons in one person. A small proportion of cases run in families. In the DSM-5, dementia was reclassified as a neurocognitive disease with various degrees of severity. Diagnosis is usually based on history of the illness and cognitive testing with medical imaging and blood work used to rule out other possible causes. The mini mental state examination is one commonly used cognitive test. Efforts to prevent dementia include trying to decrease risk factors such as high blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, and obesity. Screening the general population for disease is not recommended. Yeah. And this was some of the challenges that he faced. His body was pretty much going away in his mind. He felt, when you have a man of that age, a lot of times they feel the pressure mentally because they've always been the strong one. I remember your grandfather who, he broke his leg one time and he was in a wheelchair and it was hard for him. So he became very angry, and it's like we couldn't do nothing right while he was down. We didn't understand that when we were children. But as I got older, I realized he felt helpless because he was the one that was the breadwinner.
Of course.
Yeah. So now that he couldn't be the breadwinner, we had to be, in a sense, breadwinners. And we had to do everything for him. And he felt like he was encamped in a bubble. He couldn't do what a man is designed to do, his work.
That's right.
And that was hard for him. And so I think I can understand Don Cornelius' situation as far as to commit suicide, because he felt like, man, my body is slipping away from me and I have no more strength. I'm Don Cornelius. How could this be happening to me? And it affects people. Let's talk about some of the people who committed suicide. Robin Williams, remember that?
Oh yeah, that really hit me hard.
Did that shock you?
Oh yeah.
Why did it shock you?
Shocked me because Robin Williams was one of those actors that I grew up watching. He was before my time, of course.
Sure.
But I grew up watching him, and he had a real big imprint on my life through comedy, because he was one of the funniest guys, funniest actors that I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And he could play so many roles. If it could even be a serious role. I felt like anything he could do, he would do it perfectly.
That's true.
And for somebody that seemed so happy all the time, to take his life like that, it's a real shock to the world, I'm sure.
He was battling severe depression, and that will do it. You got Philip Seymour Hoffman, actor par excellence. Let's see, he died 2014. Well, same year. He had been going through a problematic phase of drug abuse for some time. However, the actor was known to be under control at that time. Philip Hoffman was found dead in the bathroom of his apartment in Manhattan with a syringe in his arm. Okay, very it's so many roles that he played. It's just a lot. Tony Scott, Top Gun director. Let's see who else we got here. Loren Scott, fashion designer. We've got Whitney Houston. Okay, they deemed that a suicide. Singer-songwriter, actress, model, what have you. 2012, same year, Don, left us. She was 48.
What about the guy that played Joker?
Yeah. I forgot his name. It'll come to me.
Keith
Ledger. But Brittany is a historian, so you have to watch her because she knows stuff. Amy Winehouse, 5-time Grammy Award winner.
Oh yeah.
Okay, 2011. I mean, there's a lot of people who were doing this in the time. Kurt Cobain, from the band Nirvana. Man, I mean, he in that area there, they loved him, but he died so young. April 8, 1994, he was found dead in his home in Seattle. Forensic analysis determined that Cobain had committed suicide 3 days prior. The report mentioned that Cobain was found with a shotgun and had a visible head wound. You never know what these people are going through. Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, they said that she also committed suicide. I look at Chico and the Man. I forgot Freddie. Yeah, I remember when he put a gun in his head. And you look at some of the ones who you almost borderline suicide. They overdosed. Look at the Saturday Night Live. Some of the men in them who left us. Okay, we're going to a break here. And we're going to listen to some OJs. It reminds you of Soul Train. The OJs, Love Train. Sir Walter Jones Show. Love Train is a hit by the OJs, written by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. That's Gamble and Huff, y'all. Well, whoo, what a team. Released 1972. Let's see. It reached number 1 on both the R&B single and the Hot 100 February and March of 73, respectively. It was the OJ's first and only number 1 record on the U.S. pop chart. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Only one. The song lyrics of Unity mentions a number of countries, though, including England and Russia, China, Egypt, and Israel. Usually when you hear songs made in the United States, they give the names of cities. You know, like Kirk Franklin will give a shout out to L.A., you know, Houston. But this song talk about other countries, as well as the continent of Africa. Recorded at Philly's Sigma Sound Studio. The house band MFSB provided the backing. Besides its release as a single, Love Train was the last song on the OJ's album Backstabbers. You heard of Backstabbers, have you done? Yeah, you know. You know, make you sing Frank Sinatra. You know, right?
My favorite song.
Yeah. I don't know where he get this old. I don't know. Go ahead, say it.
Get my old soul from the old man.
Yep. Your granddaddy. Kenneth Campbell and Leon Huff, born 43 and 42 consecutively. Jersey. They from Jersey. American songwriter and record production team who have written and produced 15 gold singles and 22 gold albums. They were pioneers of Philadelphia soul and an in-house creative team for the Philadelphia International Records label. And we're going to talk about them also in this thing here because they are definitely the sounds of Philadelphia. Hey, Britt, we're going to go to number one. We're going to talk about the story of Soul Train and how Don Cornelius really, really launched us into the atmosphere. Sitting in front of the TV. It was on a Saturday morning, Walter Jr., around maybe 3 o'clock. I don't know, 2, 3. See, you got to understand, Saturday mornings were all cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we had every cartoon on demand that came on from the time we woke up. And then about 2 o'clock, the last cartoon that came on, and you knew this was the last one, was Hey, Hey, Hey.
Whoa, whoa,
whoa. That's right. Hey, Hey, Hey. It's Fat Albert. Yes, that's the last cartoon. And that's when you know there are no more cartoons. And then after that, we knew Hang Around, Soul Train was going to come on.
It's coming for you, baby.
Yeah, it's coming
for you.
Best show. The hippest trip. Yeah, that's it. And they came on and they helped us understand the latest songs coming on. Okay, so let's go to the move to L.A. Here. You know, we usually lose.
Yeah.
Look at BET.
Yeah.
Look at Motown.
Yeah.
Okay, Soul Train is no stranger to selling to the larger conglomerate. Now his is not as bad as the others.
No, he held fast to the tradition. In fact, I think his health led to the demise of the image of the black community.
Yeah.
I think Don Cornelius' loss, our loss of Don Cornelius and Mr. Johnson from Johnson Publications.
Oh, yeah, right. Johnson & Johnson.
No, not that. No, Johnson Publications.
Okay. You talking about the magazine.
Yeah.
WJPC.
Yeah,
one is a product, hair product, yeah.
Johnson Products. Yes. Because they sponsored.
Yes, so right. Come on.
That was us helping each other.
Yes.
You didn't see in that whole hour no other.
Afro Sheen. Fashion Fair.
Yes. All that was for us.
Yes, sir.
By us.
That's what.
Before that was FUBU. That was that.
And we're going to play some of them files too.
And that their loss, us losing them, hurt this generation.
I believe that. I do.
Because you didn't come on Soul Train looking any kind of way.
No.
You didn't come on Soul Train half-stepping. Even if you performed the tracks, your full band was behind you.
Ain't no half-stepping.
And even though Heat Wave had white people in it. Yeah. Because a white guy wrote that.
You see, you're right ahead of me. Don't do this.
I'm sorry.
Number one, the move to L.A. Let's see what that sounds like.
But Don wasn't content to be a local sensation. He capitalized on his success as soon as possible.
It took less than a year before we had some serious backing to take it into a national show.
To take Soul Train to the next level, Don relocated to the world's entertainment capital.
And music.
That's music.
Hollywood. That was mesmerizing to everybody. We got to get out to Hollywood.
The city of the stars, movies, women, and cars. Well, I guess I'll stop. Say, hey, hey, hey.
Soul Train coming to L.A. in the early 70s coincides with Motown coming to L.A. in the early 70s. And that's very important. It was a huge exodus of talent to L.A. following Motown, because this was the new promised land. If Berry Gordy says this is where it should be, this is where it should be.
When it came to Los Angeles, that's kind of when it took off. You know, it became the hippest strip in America.
On October 2nd, 1971, Soul Train made its national debut. Gone was the claustrophobic feel of the old local show.
The Chicago set felt a little gloomy to me. Los Angeles was big. Los Angeles was bright. It was like night and day.
This was L.A., baby. The big time.
In America, 60 non-stop minutes across the tracks of your mind into the exciting world of soul.
Don had grand ambitions for the show. Unfortunately, selling those dreams into syndication was tougher than he anticipated. While the show initially premiered in just 7 cities, Don still stepped confidently into the national limelight for the very first time.
And now, here's your host, Don Cornelius. Hi there and welcome aboard. You're right on time for a beautiful trip on the Soul Train. And now let's all get some hands together for 4 beautiful people who represent a mighty mountain of soul. The very gifted and talented Gladys Knight and the dancing, swinging, singing hips.
Gladys Knight was the key to us getting the syndication deal because we had to have a major star.
While landing Gladys Knight was a coup, Don still struggled to book big-name talent on the show.
We didn't have the leverage to make anybody who was large do a new television show.
As a result, Don turned to the people who helped him to get where he was, old friends from his days in Chicago.
He'd find out what hotel we were at, and he'd literally come by early in the morning, knocking on the door, come out, I need you to come and do my show.
What they do, they smile in your face. All the time they want to take your place, the backstabbers.
Don's hustling led to a string of appearances by mainstays of the old Chicago version of the show, like the Staple Singers, B.B. King, and Don's loyal friend, Curtis Mayfield.
Curtis Mayfield was there every single time we ever asked him.
Curtis was there every time.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
We can't let each other down.
No, you cannot. It was him there for him, and it was also Smokey Robinson. They were his close friends.
And the OJs.
And the OJs. And
Gladys.
And Gladys was responsible for the syndication, part responsible. And then 2 other people would often come by. It was the very heavy, he's on MSNBC now, Al
Roker?
Sharpton. Al Sharpton. I saw
and Marvin Gaye, and he and Marvin Gaye was tight.
Yeah. It
that
was
Chicago connection.
That Chicago connection, and then the King of Soul, not soul, funk. James will come by, and James could not believe, first of all, that was all Don, because James would come there and say, "Come on now, bro, tell me really who's responsible for this? Yeah, who's backing this?" And Don was like, "You looking at him? No, really serious. Who's backing this?"
He came to our house before.
Which one?
Don Cornelius. He used to go. He was a door-to-door salesman. He used to sell the Negro Almanac.
Wow,
door-to-door.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah, and my mama bought some, bro.
Wow,
that was a heavy book.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Yes, I know. I know.
No, because I used to have it in my pants.
Yeah. before you would get that whooping.
And it didn't help. It added to it.
No, it added to it.
Because the harder they hit you, the book, the energy just transferred.
Yeah, transferred. The energy transformed.
Never did that again.
No. Michelle Thomas says her mom has a photo of him holding her when she was a baby. She says, "I got to get that pic. We got to see that pic. Put that on Facebook."
Michelle was a baby.
Right. Can you believe that? Got to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to number 2, because then what happened is the dancers came on. The Soul Train dancers became the part of the show that you had to see, and it helped us, again, show off the new dance of that time at school in front of our girlfriends.
It's funny is, my naivete, I always thought American Bandstand copied off Soul Train.
Mm-hmm. We thought that too. We did. We thought it came on. But you'll hear in the
because
clip,
it came on later, or they tried to compete it.
Yeah, they did try to compete it. But you'll hear him say, wherever the bandstand went, I went the other way. I didn't want to be affiliated with that. I didn't want to be somebody who I was copying. Right. Yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and play that.
Booking talent wasn't Don's only challenge that first season. Finding Superfly dancers in L.A. initially proved difficult, and he never would have found them without the help of an unlikely talent booker, an unassuming civil servant named Pam Brown.
I had worked at several recreation centers and knew a lot of young people in the age group that Don was looking for. Anything that has to do with youth in a positive manner, I'm on board.
This lady took me by the hand and said, "No, I'm going to show you some dances." When I first saw how the kids in L.A. danced, it was a little wild and crazy for me because I was from the cool school in Chicago.
He was saying California kids don't know how to dance. He was real cool with it.
They held the first auditions at one of the local L.A. rec centers where Pam worked. And overnight, Don had found his dancers.
All the killers was there. I mean, the killer dancers. Demita Joe Freeman and Patricia Davis and Don Campbell and Jimmy Scooby-Doo and Rerun.
Fred
They were all at that first audition, and they were kicking legs and feet high and spinning, doing the splits and flipping. If you had given me a choice, I would have said to all of them, please don't dance like that. But the television audience disagreed.
It was funny to look at.
The outrageous L.A. dancers were an instant hit with kids all across the country.
I remember me and my older cousins getting up in front of the television and trying to do the Funky Penguin.
This was your only source of what the latest dances were, so you pretty much had to use your memory to memorize everything, or else you had to wait an entire week and hope that they did that same move again.
We were smarter kids then, too, because it forced us to use devices in our brain that don't exist.
I wanted to make up a dance and let people know that I was from Philadelphia as well. The PA thought it was like,
The dancers, in my book, had to be one of the most important elements of that show.
Kids at home weren't just copying the dance moves. They were copying everything about the dancers.
That's what I think we really enjoyed about Soul Train, is like being able to pick up on the fashion, you know, how your after school clothes gonna look, you know, you're like, this is what I got to have, you know, when school starts.
We all looked like Soul Train. We had dashikis and braids and bell-bottoms and afros and medallions and tikis, and we learned it all from watching it on Soul Train.
Without the dancers, the show might never have made it past the first season.
Those kids, they really made the show because in the beginning we just didn't have the big stars. They just were knocking everybody out across the country.
By the fifth episode, Don realized he had to capitalize on the dancers' exploding popularity, so he introduced a signature showcase for them.
Right now, we'd like to hit you to the Soul Train line. It gives everybody a chance to kind of style a while, and something you might want to get into on your own at parties or dances.
The Soul Train line was something that we used to do at parties in Chicago in the 50s and 60s probably, and I just borrowed it. It just caught on as the highlight of every Soul Train show.
it was the best part of the whole weekend, is going down the line.
And here we go with the Soul Train line, the Soul Train gang, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Mighty, Mighty.
You never did know what those kids were going to do when they came down that line. You just knew the next one better be better than the last one.
It was very competitive, but in a positive way. We would all cheer each other on as we come down.
The Soul Train line gave viewers a reason to crowd around the TV from week to week.
There's always that one person that had to let everybody know the segment before the Soul Train line came on. That was my job. You pretty much had to, Sherry, I'm on Soul Train line, about to come on. It was like the ice cream man was coming.
You know how to dance, Walter Jr.?
No, sir.
Okay. If you ever want to go back to any era in time, okay, from 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. All right, whether you would know anything about it or not, what would be your era to go back to? That far back, huh?
I don't know. I would say maybe the late 70s. I don't know.
Why late 70s?
It seemed like things was maybe starting to kick up. Dancing wise, it seemed like it was changing. Like with disco and all of that.
Yeah,
it was kind of a. I don't know. I wasn't
Sound
there.
like you're trying to say Renaissance.
Renaissance, I guess.
It's like a new Renaissance.
It pretty much was.
The 80s was that the blooming and blossoming of it.
Yeah.
But
I think I would have wanted to be around in the beginning
of the 70s or the beginning of that era. Okay. Yeah, well, that would be about 78, 79. And actually, disco was on its way out. It came in and out the same way it came in.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, right here in Chicago where they ended, they went down to the White Sox Park. Dahl or whatever his name was.
Steve Dahl, they did the explosion.
They put them records out there and they exploded them. That's the end of this. They were tired of it. But you go overseas right now, it's huge.
But I don't think it died. They changed the name from disco to techno.
Techno.
Or house music.
That's all it was.
Yeah, house music. All that's the same trap.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It sure is.
It's just that drive. That's it.
And in hip hop, it was New Jack City. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's James Brown and early.
That's all it is. It's New Jack funk,
New Jack swing.
New Jack swing. Yeah,
that scream of James Brown has been sampled.
Oh my God, a million times. Sure,
it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a
shame.
The
Isley Brothers from "It's Your Thing."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so we'll go to the American Bandstand competition, number 3, Britt, and let's see what he says about American Bandstand and the oldest young person in the world. Well, he's gone now. Dick Clark.
Meanwhile, Don was getting more powerful than ever. And the man who had once gone door to door begging for talent was now overwhelmed by requests from the music industry's biggest players.
It became not an important promotional vehicle, the most important promotional vehicle.
It was important for our Motown acts to be on Soul Train because Soul Train was the show. It was hot.
Soul Train started giving us opportunity to be exposed on a national basis.
The idea for black artists to have a television opportunity to reach a larger public was very, very important because Soul Train had a sizable white audience as well.
The show's expanding mainstream audience also caught the attention of rival TV producers. In just 2 seasons, the show was outrating American Bandstand in cities from Chicago to Memphis, and copycats were inevitable.
Hi, welcome to Soul Unlimited. Our special guests today are Ronnie Dyson, and Marlo's all set up and ready to go in a few minutes. We're going to go down on the floor with all the dancers and really get down.
In 1973, American Bandstand creator Dick Clark launched Soul Unlimited, a carbon copy that went right for Don's jugular. With the help of Jesse Jackson, Don went on the offensive, publicly accusing Clark of trying to undermine Hollywood's only black-owned TV program. The network heard the message loud and clear. Afraid of alienating the power brokers of black music, Dick Clark agreed to take Soul Unlimited off the air. Victory was sweet, but Don knew that the show needed to keep evolving or perish.
We just felt in order for us to survive, we had to do stuff that American Bandstand would not do.
Don raised the stakes by taking a huge risk. He made live music a centerpiece of the show.
When Soul Train first started, you would go on, you would lip sync to your record. But then it kind of opened up to the fact where you could go on and sing live. Dance to the music. Dance to the music.
Playing live was a rare chance for the show's performers to really connect with viewers.
Something really exceptional was Sly on Soul Train. Oh, amazing.
It was easier to play live because we'd never practiced lip sync. And it was an honor to play live. On Soul Train,
sound like he worked with Walter Jones.
So you really had to kind of entertain those people. Really
you
hard.
never know what that happened. Never.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing stuff.
Especially coming from Sly Stone.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Truth be told, that's where funk came from.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Larry
sir.
Graham,
yes,
bud.
sir. Larry Graham. Yeah. Whew. Man.
We need to do a Sly Stone show.
Yeah, that would be nice. That really would be nice. Hey, Britt, number 5, how long was that?
Number 5 is a minute and 1 second.
Okay, we could do that. We're going to, wait, what number we just played?
3.
Okay, how long is number 4?
2 minutes and 3 seconds.
Okay, we could do that. Number 4, the Soul Train theme song. Let's see how that came to play.
After 2 groundbreaking seasons on air, Soul Train was in a groove. It had built its own identity based on iconic elements like the Soul Train line and Sid McCoy's signature intro.
60 non-stop minutes across the tracks of your mind into the exciting world of soul. Hey there, and welcome aboard. We'll definitely be dealing some good feeling your way for the next 60 minutes.
Don celebrated by commissioning a theme song fit for a hit TV show.
That first theme song called Hot Potatoes, it was real funky, but it was old, and I thought that we should have a new theme song.
Don called on his friends, Gamble and Huff, the genius producers behind the Philly sound of stars like Billy Paul and Teddy Pendergrass.
Started with Kenny Gamble singing something like, Soul Train, Soul Train.
He can't sing.
But he did it in key.
We knew it had to be something that people could dance to. We had to be able to do the Soul Train line on it.
That song, I mean, it just stays with you, and seeing that little train going around and dancing, the dancing train.
The track was so hot, Gamble and Huff wanted to release it immediately.
And I said, okay. I said, but I don't want you to call it Soul Train. I want you to call it something else, because I was very protective of the Soul Train trademark.
They retitled the song The Sound of Philadelphia, and it was an instant smash, selling over 1 million copies and hitting #1 on the Billboard chart in April 1974.
That was the dumbest move I ever made. It should have been named Soul Train, and it wasn't.
Takes a big man to admit he's
stupid. Yes. With the solid track record now behind them, Gamble and Huff formed Philadelphia's International Records, 71. It was a rival to Berry Gordy's Motown. They originally approached Atlanta Records, which passed on the deal as being too expensive. So CBS Records, headed at the time by Clive Davis, we know him, backed the venture and distributed Philadelphia International Records, aided and abetted by in-house arrangers Tom Bell, Bobby Martin, musician, and Norman Harris. But in 75, Philadelphia International became involved in a payola-related situation, the scandal, payola.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah, you know what that is. You pay to play.
Yep.
It's an illegal act. Gamble was fined and Huff was not. By the late 1970s, however, the popularity of the Philadelphia sound, soul sound, became a decline, because disco had suffered a backlash, and R&B was going back towards the ballads, and rock had returned to American charts. Still, the label had its share of late 1970s success, but among the later hits were "Enjoy Yourself," the Jacksons, 1976, and "Ain't No Stopping Us Now" by McFadden and Whitehead, 1979. Yeah. And that is the great duo of Gamble and Huff. But it's 5 o'clock in Chicago Central time zone, and I want to hear some Sam Cooke. A change is gonna come. I think one of them Thirsty Girls did it Monday night at my concert.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Great song. See if we can pull this off. It ain't a long song at all, and then we'll get back to some Sir Walter Jones Show.
just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there've been times that I thought I could last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
The following show is paid programming and does not necessarily express the views and opinions of Urban Broadcast Media and its subsidiaries.
Thank you for listening to UBM Praise.
Wednesday.
Oh, yes, it will. A Change Is Gonna Come is a song by American artist Sam Cooke.
Sam Bake.
Released on December 22, 1964. RCA Victor. Remember that dog on the record?
Barking at the sound horn.
Produced by Hugo and Luigi. That's a video game, man.
Hugo and Luigi.
And
that's Mario. Mario and Luigi.
Oh, them too.
Donkey Kong.
Arranged and conducted by Renee Hall. And the song was the B-side to Shake. Yeah, Shake. The song concerns. I hear it in my head.
Okay.
The song concerns African Americans and contains the refrain, "It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is going to come." The song was inspired by various personal events in Cooke's life, most prominently an event in which he and his entourage were turned away from a white-only motel in Louisiana. Well, it's whites only, so of course you're going to get turned away. Cooke felt compelled to write a song that spoke to his and struggle of those around him, and he recorded the song for its first release on his first album, Ain't That Good News. I like that one, actually. I heard that one. Good. You know, I'm a history buff. Love history. Hey, Britt, what number are we at?
We are now going to be on number 5.
Number 5. Okay. See how long it took her to say that, because she had to think. She's now, we are, first of all, what's the question again? Yeah. Yeah.
Miss Wiggin.
Number 5.
Miss Wiggin.
Yeah. This is the scramble board. Y'all remember the scramble board?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is the little history of the scramble board. It ain't very long. But let's see what's going on here. Because I just knew something was going on in that scramble board. Why is it that everybody got it right?
Right.
Okay.
They told me they had to.
Let's see what he got to say.
Don realized the power of his reach and found creative ways to incorporate black pride into the show's weekly segments.
Okay, we'd like you to meet two members of our Soul Train gang.
Renee White.
Hi, Renee.
Darnell Williams.
And Darnell, you both, I'm sure, familiar with the Soul Train Scramble Board, right?
The Scramble Board challenged contestants to spell the names of legendary black icons.
There were political figures like Julian Bond and Phyllis Wheatley and Harriet Tubman.
I always thought that was fixed, though, because you could never find one episode where a couple didn't figure it out.
Actually, the board was fixed. Sort of.
It was impossible not to win on the Scramble Board, which is a little-known fact, because we were into projecting positive images of black people. And so we couldn't have them stand there misspelling Stevie Wonder's name.
How you gonna misspell Stevie Wonder's name?
S-T-V-E-E-E-I-E, Stevie.
I thought it was a Y in there.
Wonder. W-O-N-D-R-E.
Right,
Just like
right,
you spell
right.
theater with R-E. You
That's
spell
right.
wonder with R-E.
That's right. That's
Wondra.
right. Brona, he went to DuSable High School, by the way. She's asking what high school did he go to?
Who?
DuSable High School.
Who?
Don Cornelius.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where he graduated from.
DuSable.
DuSable. Yeah, DuSable High School. DuSable. You got me saying it. And then came the Afro Sheen situation. He talked about them supporting, being the sponsors for his show, especially when they went to L.A. He needed that money, needed that sponsorship. Afro Sheen did all of those wonderful, cute commercials, and you knew it was us because even the voiceover was Sid, who did the opening to the show. Sid did a lot of the commercials. Let's go ahead and play that break.
He sounded a lot like Don to me.
Yeah, he sure did. He really did. Afro Sheen.
The positive images didn't stop there. Don's revolutionary sponsorship deal with black-owned Johnson products finally gave Soul Train viewers TV ads they could actually relate to.
I'd like to ask you specifically why you felt it was important to sponsor a show like Soul Train.
I think Soul Train is the right show for our company because it reaches our market directly.
Hey, now, mambo.
Some of the early commercials were just awe-inspiring to our audience and a definite first.
Tally ho.
You just did not see commercials that were directed toward African Americans back in the 1970s.
Here it comes. And me with the most untogether natural in town.
They were speaking to me.
But you need this Afro Sheen hairspray to give your hair sparkle.
That smells nice too.
The voiceover sounded like an African American voice.
When fox hunting, be sure you're ready with Afro Sheen.
It was amazing. These products were just reinforcing the idea that black is beautiful.
Makita, serene, majestic, beautiful Queen of Sheba. And now out of the mist of 3,000 years emerges today's beautiful black queen. Naturally beautiful, radiant. She is black essence.
There was a real sense that the Afro was a radical statement, particularly for women. Women still wore straightened processed hair most of the time. So for a woman to have a natural, whether it was short or long, was a remarkable political statement about acceptance, about black beauty.
Probably the best Afro Sheen commercial I've ever seen. It has to be seen to be believed.
Haven't you forgotten something?
Say who were... Hey, aren't you Frederick Douglass? Yeah, we studied about you in school yesterday. About how you were a slave and how you took your own freedom. And then began to fight for freedom and dignity for all our people. Say, but what did I forget?
Are you going to go out into the world with your hair looking like that?
The ghost of Frederick Douglass basically tells him his fro's not tight.
That's a mess. I've been watching the progress of our people, and I'm quite familiar with the natural. And I'm also aware that it is worn as an outward expression of pride and dignity.
Believe it or not, I still use Afro Sheen. Frederick Douglass only has to tell me once.
That was what's his name from the Roots, the drummer.
Yeah. Dude still got a pick with a fist at the top.
Yep, sure do. George Ellis Johnson Jr., born June 12, 1927, American entrepreneur and the founder of Johnson Products Company, an international cosmetic empire headquartered in Chicago. He was born in Richton, Mississippi. MISSISS. Quick letter. In a 3-room sharecropper shack. Wow. When he was 1962, he moved to Chicago with his mother, Priscilla, after his parents had separated. See, y'all think separation is new? Please. That thing been going on for a long time. Ain't that right, Junior?
Yes, sir.
Okay, be quiet. That's enough. In 1954, at the encouragement of co-worker Johnson, left the Fuller Company and founded Johnson Products with his wife, Joanne, focused on the African-American male hair care market. Notice that. Male. Johnson borrowed $250 from the bank and another $250 from a friend to finance the venture. The company's first product was Ultra Wave, a hair relaxer for men. 1957, Ultra Sheen, a revolutionary hair straightener that could easily be used in the home, was introduced for women. During the next quarter century, more product lines were introduced like Afro Sheen. One of Johnson's best-known products, was released in the 1960s at a time when the Afro became a popular hairstyle for African Americans. Over the next few decades, Johnson Products continued to grow, focusing its efforts on not only its product line, but on training cosmetologists on the proper use as well. 1964, Johnson founding Independence Bank. Independence Bank. Y'all remember Independence Bank? Mm-hmm. Okay. If you don't know, just read the history. Right here in Chicago, in this area over here. Mm-hmm. And during the 1970s, he became the exclusive sponsor behind the nationally syndicated dance show Soul Train. But this part you don't know. In 1971, Johnson Products became the first African-American owned company to be listed on the American Stock Exchange. That same year, Johnson became the first African-American to serve on the board of directors of Commonwealth Edison.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
A lot of history. A lot of y'all didn't know that.
Yeah. I used to see him and his wife drive down the streets of Chicago downtown in those nice, beautiful, rich cars.
Come on now. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Stand there now. He was a hard taskmaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He stood at the door.
Yes.
Every morning, making sure everybody was at work on time.
Ain't that something?
He was the first person at work, even as the CEO. Mm-hmm. He was never late for work, and he didn't expect you to be late.
And again, you look at Madam C.J. Walker was the first millionaire of self-made woman because she was the inventor of that hot comb. You know, that be burning y'all scalp.
Yeah, fried dilate the side.
Fried dilate side. Absolutely.
And them Carolina.
It was Saturday night, boy. They was getting them hair ready for, and they would have it on the stove. You smelled it burning when you came in the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They had
hair rep.
All that stuff was on the stove. I'm like, Mom, I want to make some fries. Why is there a whole bunch of hair stuff? And what's this big old long stick that looked like a scissors?
Yeah, how come these scissors don't cut?
And why is it hot?
Don't touch that, boy.
And then you hear going when they hit the hair. And then somebody say, "Ouch!" You're like, what's that noise?
Big old burn forehead. Ain't that like
a burnt scalp?
Your PA, she always keep her forehead covered because she burned her forehead.
Burn that forehead. Woo, ladies, we saw
them kitchens get all taken out, boy.
Yes, sir.
Burn the back of their neck.
Burn that neck be all just jacked up. So I guess the foreigners helped y'all out with the weave. It's been a weave-a-thon ever since. Unbelievable.
And they're praying that weave never leaves.
They never leave. Yes. Number 7. First white artists. This is where this I didn't know. Okay, because a lot of songs we heard on the radio, we thought they were black.
This is what we discovered who was.
We saw them on TV. We was like,
all of those.
Yeah,
average white band.
Yes,
Casey,
yes.
Boss Skaggs. I thought all of them was black.
Average white band. Yeah.
What's his name? What you want to do for love? Bobby Caldwell.
Bobby Caldwell.
Man, yes. We all thought they was black.
We thought.
White chocolate.
First white artists.
Being black in America had never been so cool. And everyone wanted in on the action.
A great welcome, gang, please, for Mr. Gino Vanelli.
I forgot about Gino Vanelli.
For me, it wasn't a cultural phenomenon or anything like that. And they said, you'll be the first white guy on the show. And I said, well, okay, I'll do it. Yeah. The conversation with Don was very amicable. I asked him, why did you invite me on the show? I'm obviously not a black artist. And he said, I consider you off-white.
The reason why Gino Vanelli happened to be on Soul Train, number one, is because he had a black sound. People thought the man was black. I am one of them.
But it was a life-turning, or at least a career-turning event for me. Because right after Soul Train, my audiences were at least 50% black.
Wow.
It ushered in another kind of growth period when major white stars wanted to come on the Soul Train show. I understand that you've been quite a fan of these kids for some time, is that right?
It's the only thing that you can look forward to on a tour, apart from the sports programs on American television. I just watch it every week, and the whole band watches it, and it keeps us amused. It's great. We've been watching it for a long time.
Wasn't salesmanship on our part. They just called up one day and said Elton John wants to do Soul Train, and we like, fine, you know.
Elton John, David Bowie made music that if you didn't know who they were, you would have thought a black man made them records. That song, Fame.
Yeah, Fame. Yeah.
You were just shocked when he was on Soul Train. I remember when we all were jockeying, positioned to be in front of the television. And when he came on, oh my gosh, it was mesmerizing, it really was.
I think they'd had quite a success with Elton John. I think they probably felt that it was opening their market up a bit to try and cross over into white territories as well. The great trouble was that I forgot to learn to lip sync it, and it was a farce.
Forgot.
I mean, I barely get through the song. They're frantically trying to remember the words as the thing's playing. Oh God, I should have learned this.
Don went on to feature an array of white soul performers, from Tina Marie to Captain and Tennille to the appropriately named Scottish funk group, the Average White Band.
Soul Train was our first performance to Greater America. And obviously that had an immediate impact on ticket sales.
Thought he was
the
James
venues
Brown.
were changing suddenly. We're going upstairs to the big...
Wow. He thought it was James Brown, that's for sure.
That band, the way he approached his singing and everything.
Mm-hmm. What was that hit, the Average White Band? What was that big
Pick
hit?
Up the Pieces.
Yeah, that's it.
And then what was that other group? Cherry? Wild Cherry.
Yeah.
Play that funky music,
Yeah.
white boy.
Broner brings up Skaggs.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them. The Skaggs boys.
Boss Skaggs.
Yeah, Boss.
Dirty low down.
Yeah. Stevie Wonder got a cute little thing that he did right on the air, right at the piano, as he always do, making up stuff. Go ahead, play that right quick. Just a little short file here.
Soul Train had become more than just a cultural phenomenon. It was a lifestyle, a tight-knit community that everyone wanted to be a part of. Even the greatest musicians of all time.
Soul Train. Don Cornelius.
Betty and B.
Right.
Stevie Wonder made his own song up on the spot about the Soul Train gang.
Oh, M Sharp. Oh, A flat.
He got
What?
us to sing in with him.
Sharp.
It was an exciting moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
And let me hear everybody say, well, all the brothers and sisters get together. Say louder. Hey, clap a little louder, people.
Yeah. Stevie, he can sing anything, man.
Oh yes, he can.
He do what he
He can
wants.
sing nothing and sound good.
Yep. He could be silent and be like, "Man, that's a hit." What's that called? Quiet Storm.
No, that's Smokey Robinson's song.
That is okay. Yeah.
Silent Rain.
Silent Rain. See no evil.
No, it's called a snowstorm. You ever hear snow hit the
Snowstorm?
ground? Watch this.
Now wait. Now this bridge, this gonna be feathers hitting. There it is. Junior, you like Stevie Wonder?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I figured you would. What's your favorite Stevie song? That hit you hard, didn't it? Hit you right in the face.
My favorite Stevie song.
Uh-huh.
I honestly cannot remember the name of it.
Really? Sing it.
It's more of the moment that I can remember at this point right now.
Okay,
Kind of
really?
caught me off guard.
Okay.
But do you remember? There was a video of me and Rebecca playing when we were kids that you made.
Okay.
And there was a Stevie Wonder song playing
in
the background, and it was a slower song. But I just can't think of it right now.
And it was probably, if I was playing it while you guys were kids, it's probably from one of his albums, from two albums. One was the Songs of the Key of Life, or the album that many people don't know about is called The Secret Life of Plants.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And probably I'm thinking The Secret Life of Plants. That's why I can't wait to
That's one got past me.
Yep, it was based off of a movie. That's why I cannot wait to do his show, because that one's going to blow some people's mind.
Now, mine is the one that everybody slept on.
What's
It's
that?
from A Time to Love album.
Oh, really? I didn't sleep on that. I love that.
Raindrops.
Oh, my God. That was my number one song on that
Raindrops.
project.
And
When
then
I-
we performed A Time to Love at a youth concert.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, had the kids sing it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a love festival.
I'm impressed. That one. It's coming to him.
If it's magic. If it's
Oh,
magic.
there you Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Uh-huh. Yeah. If it's magic. If I had a keyboard in front of me, I'd play it now.
I don't want a boy.
Don't do that to me. Number 9, Britt. With now come disco. This is the attack on disco. Don Cornelius hated disco, but he knew that he had to conform to wherever the people were taking music.
How could he hate disco? It's
Right.
dance music.
Mm-hmm, exactly. But I know why. Because he felt it had no soul form to it. It was just a rhythm, and it didn't have your typical.
But Chic was a soulful band.
Well, he gonna tell you.
Freak out. Man, that guitar line is soulful, baby.
Yeah, he went there because after this he created his own label because of it. Go ahead, play that and shut the album down.
But off camera, a new threat was blowing in from the East Coast.
Disco came in so strong, it was almost intimidating.
There was certainly a move in the late 1970s toward more entertainment hedonism. There was a lot of, youthful drug use, a lot of cocaine, and disco was associated with a lot of that.
Don felt the repetitious dance beats lacked musicianship and soul.
There's a big difference between funky music and disco music.
When disco evolved, we didn't know what to do.
As the unstoppable force of disco spawned rival shows such as Disco 77 and Disco Magic, Don stood at a crossroad. Remain an arbiter of soul or cede to the disco craze.
We came to realize that the best disco records almost invariably were black records. So we made a commitment to just play the best black records we could find. Now, if you want to call it disco, fine.
I used to love to see the Muppets do their renditions of disco songs.
Sort of took the soul out of it.
Things began to change. You all of a sudden saw this disco, Studio 54, almost New York vibe, find its place into Soul Train.
He took the sign away, and it was replaced with the crystal ball. Thank God that only lasted for one season.
Don might not have been a fan of disco, but he made it work to his advantage when he started his own music label, Soul Train Records. The first act he assembled was a disco group, and he turned to the Soul Train dancers for talent.
Remember, I was at Jody's house, and we got a call. And it was Don Cornelius. He says, I have a new project that I want you to do. I said, really?
Don picked Jeffrey Daniel and Jody Watley, the show's standout fan favorites, and Shalimar was born.
We were the most popular dancers on the show.
Jody and I just had a natural chemistry. We could just read each other, and that just comes from a real partnership.
Let's welcome three very talented people, ironically, all of whom were connected with Soul Train in one way or another before they became, shall we say, stars. Namely, they are Jody Watley, Jeffrey Daniels, and Howard Hewitt, better known as Shalimar.
Shalimar was promoted by Don. They were on Soul Train a lot.
I know you come a long way, baby, but you don't need that heart of stone, no. You prove that you can do it, baby.
When the rumor was that they were looking to get dancers to be in the Shalimar group, well, they better not pick so-and-so, and why did they pick her, and why did they pick him? First time we did Soul Train as Shalimar, I remember just bawling in the dressing room. I was crying because there was kind of a bitter intensity. We're getting the evil eye, like, you know,
Don's strategy eventually paid off, and the second time around hit #1 on the Billboard R&B charts.
We really thank you, so we would like to present you with a gold.
What do you find? When Shalimar's not on the road, I'd sneak back on the Soul Train. But it was my love, so I would still go down there and dance. And thank God I did.
Yeah. Jeffrey Daniels, born 1957, Los Angeles. American dancer, singer, songwriter, choreographer, most notable for being a member of the R&B group Shalimar. In Nigeria, he is best known as the Idol series judge. But his first performance was The Backslide. That's the first name we heard. It's a physical, complicated dance technique originally performed by a dance group, the Lockers, on that show, remember? Now known as the Moonwalk. So when we saw... yeah.
And it actually goes all the way back to the 20s, tap dance
That's
days.
right. It sure did. So when the young people saw Michael Jackson do it on the 25th anniversary of Motown.
Daniels had already done it before.
He'd already done it. And Michael was giving an ode to Daniels because he had always admired him.
Because I watched him do it on Soul Train.
That's right. He did it on Soul Train. And when I saw Michael Jackson do it, I said, where did I see this before? Everybody was going crazy the next day in school. This is 1983, so we in high school like, man, did y'all see what Michael Jackson did? He was like, he was walking on the moon, and I was like, no, I seen this somewhere before.
Yep.
And then it dawned on me, in the 1970s, Jeff did it. He created
he moonwalked it. He walked behind this.
Mm-hmm.
He walked behind the Soul Train stage had two stages.
Mm-hmm.
It had the stage and it had a train on the stage.
Yes.
And he moonwalked behind it, one crossed, and then he went down like he was walking downstairs. And
yeah, that's right. Sure did.
I remember that.
Absolutely.
How did he do that?
How did he do it? Yeah.
And then my cousin said, like this?
Mm-hmm. like this. Well, Daniels appeared on Paul McCartney's movie, Give My Regards to Broad Street. And then in 87, he worked with Michael Jackson, who had always been a fan of Daniels' dancing style, watching him Soul Train. He was hired as a choreography on Bad and Smooth Criminal videos with primary...
With that lean, with that magnet.
With Travis Payne, and he later employed... he did so much stuff. It's just ridiculous what he done. So Michael Jackson still owed, his dancing and choreography
to somebody else.
From
James Brown to Jeffrey Daniels.
How honorable is that? Yeah.
His money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got the song Andre Crouch, my favorite on the last project of his, called The Journey. It's called God Is On Our Side. Because we're going to talk about, before the show is out, men in the Bible who committed suicide. Many of you don't pay much attention to that. But yeah, suicide is in the Bible.
So.
We're going to go there.
Judah.
Yeah. God Is On Our Side. Andre Crouch. Walter Jones Show. God is on our side. Andre Crouch, what an amazing songwriter, arranger, singer, pianist, man, and pastor. Going to be with the Lord, but we're going to see him again. And if Alvin keep messing with me, he will see him much sooner than I will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. We got two more files to play because we've been going to talk more about the suicide situation, but the rise of hip hop. Number 10, Brittany, if you can. We're going to talk about Walter Jr.'s era, and Brittany just walked in the room. My little chocolate daughter over here. Yeah. She's black, and that's pretty much it. But she is the sweetest girl in the world.
You want to get hurt?
Yeah. That's why I'm sitting on the opposite side of her. I ain't crazy. How you doing, Brittany?
I'm good.
She's gonna be the one that take care of you when you're old.
Good. I love that little girl right there. And her parents is amazing. I tell you, I'm part of the family. I don't know whether I should call my name Jones or what's y'all last name again?
Bogan.
Yes, I don't know. She's Bogan. She's Bogan. Hey,
you just bogus.
You just bogus. The rise of hip hop. Let's hear that.
Beneath the surface, a different story was unfolding. And in the inner city, life was tougher than ever.
The conditions under which many African Americans in cities were living were pretty desperate.
Automatic weapons and highly profitable drug trades and 40, 50, 60% unemployment produces a whole nother level of really troubled urban communities.
And so hip-hop really emerges at this moment of loss and disappointment, but also with a real sensibility that it's important to depict what's going on.
Hip-hop took Soul Train by surprise because we thought it was something that might not stick.
Don objected to rap's bleak outlook, but reluctantly invited chart-topping rappers onto the show.
Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice.
You know, I can understand Don Cornelius and the Soul Train being a little skeptical or nervous about hip-hop because it was a very brash new thing.
Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
When the message came out, the Furious Five wanted to wake up America and just talk about the things that were going wrong that people sometimes don't want to hear.
Why didn't people like hip-hop at first? What was to like? The profanity, the perceived disrespect for elders. It was the rebel music.
Just the idea that someone just speaks over beat and they get to be on TV. It was something that a lot of the adults and black pop culture weren't interested in.
Don gave his audience what they wanted, though he still chafed at the racy East Coast dance moves.
Don Cornelius did not want to see how I really danced. I was doing hip-hop, and it was foreign to people out in California. Don was like, oh, no, you're a girl. And I'm like, what?
He also made uncharacteristically blunt comments about the music.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to old guys like me. I mean, I don't understand why they love it so much.
Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think that Don Cornelius would say what he said. My heart dropped to my feet. It devastated me.
But that ain't my job, is it? My job is to deal with it.
I remember being offended by, here's a guy whose job it is to like everything that's hot, and he couldn't relate to it. That was kind of the epitome of what the whole industry felt about hip-hop. Here's this emerging art form that no one can understand or like, but yet somehow it's selling.
But as the 80s progressed and rap became more and more popular, Don learned to live with.
That was frightening.
If not exactly love, the new art form.
How about it for Public Enemy?
At a certain point, hip-hop records and even the hardcore hip-hop records had just established themselves as so central to black pop music that Soul Train couldn't ignore that.
People look at you funny if you are not booking these kind of artists because it's like you don't know what you're doing.
I could tell that Don was a little uncomfortable embracing it, but as a businessman, I'm glad he was smart enough to give in.
Don's eventual acceptance of hip-hop helped launch the genre into the mainstream and gave acts like Run DMC, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, and Eric B. and Rakim national TV exposure for the first time.
The stage is empty. A beat like this might tempt me. The whole show, my rings in my fat gold chain. Grab the mic like I'm on Soul Train.
When Soul Train gave the hip-hop community a look, as far as letting them come on and perform their songs, that broke hip-hop.
It took it out of New York and brought it into the homes of people across the country.
TV, rap.
But Don would soon face some serious competition.
Yo, welcome to the premiere of Yo MTV Raps.
Yo MTV Raps was another new thing where I'm running around on the street. So it was a whole different format to the show.
When BET and MTV came around, Soul Train didn't have a monopoly on that audience anymore.
It is much more difficult when these upstarts come around and they're able to be newer and edgier and completely define themselves from zero instead of define themselves within their own history.
Yeah, hip-hop. Junior, there's a transformation that happened all through since the time of Sugar Hill Gang. Hip. Hop, a hibbity to hibbity hip hip hop. You don't stop it. Everybody know it. Not you. You just got to sing.
I don't understand exactly what they're saying.
Sure.
I just,
Yeah. Sure.
I get it.
Let's say maybe 79, 78, 79. I think that's when that kicked off. And then now we have what we have today. We went all through gangster rap. Okay. And then, of course, we just talked about the New Jack City, the New Jack Swing, and all that of the 90s. The 2000s, what sound was it? What was it called? And what is rap called today?
Well, I guess you can call it. I would say it's R&B trap.
Okay, R&B trap.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah,
because nowadays you won't hear a rap song that doesn't have any
a sample,
or it's a lot of melodies in these songs, and
sure.
And for the hooks are usually like R&B songs. They'll have a singer, male or female, R&B singer, male or female, come in and sing on the track that they're rapping to.
Yeah,
and the actual music that they're singing on, the beat, I guess people would call it, is trap, or another way of saying gangster rap. It's a style.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I think that's probably why they call Erica Campbell's song "You Don't Love God."
Yeah, it's a
What's
trap
wrong with
beat.
you?
It's a trap beat.
Why do they say trap? What's the T stand for?
Well, trap is
talking instead of rapping. Trap.
Rap.
I trap.
Yeah,
I don't really
talk
rap. I trap.
T-rap. Jurassic.
Yes.
Yeah, and let's go to Facebook. We haven't touched them in a while. Start from the bottom. Natalie talking about Jeffrey Daniels. He said right. Jeffrey Daniels was a former Mr. Stephanie Mills.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I remember being backstage with her and talking to her and my nephew Lawrence, who was playing for her at the time. Not Lawrence. That was Rodney Jr. was playing for her at the time, and she insulted me.
Why?
Well,
she was too tall.
You're right. You know what I'm saying. She's still fine, but still, I'm looking at her and I said to myself,
you see past her nose.
Leave her alone. Baby, you feel good all over. I said, okay. She said, hey, Junior, can you write me a song? And he says, yeah, I got you. And he looked, and my nephew looked at me, as if to say, well, I mean, you going to write with me? I'm like, this is your gig. So she says, no. I don't want no gospel song. I want a real song. I said, Rodney Jr., where's my coat?
Other side of the rainbow.
You see what I'm saying? I said, where's my coat?
You never know. That was gospel all day
She
long.
tried gospel.
Yeah, she couldn't do it.
Basically what she's saying is, I
She
want
wants
songs
something
like
to make us
the
some
money. Yes, pretty much.
I need a new hit because I never knew love like this before. It didn't work no more.
I ain't never grabbed my coat. As a matter of fact, and the autograph she signed, I think on the way out, I tossed it. I'm so offended by a real song. I said, you need to get a real height. Rochelle
Time you look short in high heel shoes.
And you on stilts.
You so short you can't get high. That's why you ain't got no drug problem. You on short, got to cuff your panties.
What, you stupid. What? What? You on the Sears Tower and I got to look down. Rochelle Matheny says, although black suicide has historically been low when compared to other groups, don't be fooled. From 1981 to 1994, black suicide rates grew by a ghastly 83%. Today, suicide is the third leading cause of death among young African-American men. In 2010, over 80% of all black suicides were males. Women of most all ethnicities attempt suicide at a higher rate than men. Yet men complete the task at a higher rate.
Yeah, because we beast.
Yes. A stomach pump does nothing for a gunshot wound to the head. Black women are less likely than any other American demographic to commit suicide. Okay, I think she's quoting from Ebony Magazine. And she continues to say, why do so many of us still refuse to get help? We are well represented in the barbershops, in beauty salons on Friday, in the nightclubs on Saturday, and at church on Sunday. Yet our presence in the therapy room remains nil. Do we believe that we can style, party, pray ourselves to mental wellness? I do see psychic value in a fresh haircut, a strong social support system, and sturdy spiritual foundation. I do, however, have a problem with our community's practice of praying demons out of people plagued by schizophrenia, or beating the defiance out of a boy suffering from undiagnosed bipolar disorder. So that's what we used to do. We used to beat a kid because he was acting out, not realizing sometimes you need to get him tested to see if he has a mental illness, okay, or a dysfunction in him. But we used to beat him. And then the school put him in special ed. And sometimes there's kids in special ed that don't belong in there.
Many times, no. Yes, they don't belong in there for the diagnosis by which they are labeled.
Yeah, I think many are overdiagnosed. Just like we did the show on schizophrenia with Donny
Hathaway.
Yeah, the overdiagnosis of black males being placed in that.
Well, it was easy to deal with them there, so to speak, or just get them out of the classroom so the rest of the kids can learn. But then you put them in a special ed classroom, and then they feel like it's carte blanche to act a fool.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's no easy solution when you come to that. My educational career started in special ed, and I was a one-on-one aide to a kid with ADHD. Wow. He was smart, but he was abused. He was a short kid who was older than what he appeared. So he was an 11-year-old kid who looked like he was in kindergarten.
Wow.
That was his size. So, but everything else about him was far advanced as far as his cognition of carnality and flesh and skin.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to deal with him because he was abused by parents. He bounced from from foster home to foster home. Yeah. That kid actually did need to be in a different environment rather than in a big old classroom full of kids. However, how he was dealt with once he got in there, sometimes he's not academic. Special ed teachers are not equipped to be able to treat and educate.
Yeah.
And that's two different skill sets. And too often, kids need treatment, then education.
It's the same process.
Say, give them a pill.
But it's the same process.
Take your medicine.
Right.
And then they know how to slick themselves around that too.
Yeah. The remedy is usually confine someone, and we'll think about it later. That's why so many of us are in jail.
And some of them prefer prison.
Yes.
Because there's one thing is consistent. Because they don't like change. Once they have a norm, they can adjust to it.
Absolutely.
Jail gives you the norms.
It does.
Or the military gives you the norms.
That's right. Right. In the ancient world, suicide was sometimes accepted as a appropriate response to escape evil, avoid shame, express grief over tragic death, or avoid capture or dishonor in battle. Overall, however, suicide was condemned. In the Old Testament, there are 6 examples of suicide. First one is Abimelech, Judges 9:54, to avoid the shame of death at the hands of a woman. Samson, Judges 16:28, to defeat those who imprisoned him. And some people
I don't know if that qualifies.
I gotta say, some people debate this suicidal situation because he did ask God to take his life, and Samson helped.
He avenged his sin and didn't want to live like that. I don't think he committed suicide. He says, Lord, let me die with the Philistines.
Absolutely. And that's a debate we can talk about. Yeah, that's Thursday.
Because he could have prayed and said, Lord, restore my sight.
Yeah, he could have done all that. Right. So that's why the other side strongly lean on that, the prayer. Saul, 1 Samuel 31.
Fell on that sword.
Yeah, to avoid the dishonor of being captured after he was wounded. And we talked about this the other day. Being captured means you could get gang raped by men. They sodomize you.
Yeah, they did a whole lot before they killed you.
Yes. Saul's armor bearer, 1 Samuel 31, to atone for killing a king. Ahithophel, he fell. The 2 Samuel 17. In despair.
What's your name? I keep getting hit now. I fail, so your name is not Ahithophel.
Ahithophel. In despair over deception being perpetrated around him. Zimri, 1 Kings 16:18, to avoid capture by the army. Scripture does not write about these 6 in any condemnation manner, however. While some are not missed, others are actually praised as heroes. Of course, the book of Job suggests that Job contemplates suicide. His wife told him, hey, curse God and just kill yourself.
Just die.
Yeah, he does not do so, and instead places his trust in God. In the New Testament, the only suicide mention is that of Judas Iscariot, Matthew 27:3. Acts of the Apostles 1:18, who betrayed Jesus and proceeds to hang himself. Scripture suggests that this is an act of shamefulness. And I think you brought up something about Jesus being on the cross. Some proponents who would express that Jesus committed suicide because he did say, no man takes my life, but I take my own.
I lay it down.
Yeah, lay it down. Okay. And, the subject of suicide is very controversial because then always the question is, if a man takes his life, is he going to go to hell or heaven? And you and I fought over this, actually.
Yes.
I've fought with other people, and I cannot emphatically say that everybody who takes their life is going to hell.
Depends on the circumstance.
And I think it has to depend on the circumstance.
One can call suicide if someone throws a live grenade in here and I throw my body on it.
And that's my point.
That's not suicide. But see, is that suicide or self-sacrifice?
And that brings up the whole Samson situation. Okay,
Samson as well as Jesus.
As Jesus. You see what I'm saying?
In fact, in what's the class you take? It's a class you take in theology school. Progress of Redemption. Progress of Redemption.
Oh, sure.
Or systematic theology. There, you look for the Christ in every scenario.
Right.
That's an example of the Christ.
Yes, absolutely.
Samson,
that's
the sample. That's the example of Christ because he actually takes on the penalty of him revealing what he should have kept and concealed, as well as losing his position as protector and defender. And then once he recovers and his hair grows back, rather than live with the shame of blindness, he lives with he dies with the dignity of avenging his people.
And look at the suicide missions. Okay, look at the kamikazes of the and some of us had to go on suicide missions.
Oh God, many.
Okay,
yes, many.
So suicide is suicide no matter what. Look at the song. Suicide is what? What's the song?
Painless.
It's painless. Okay, to some. Look at the ones who were in the towers of 911, who had no other way to go but out that window because the fire was on behind them, and the only escape was out that window.
So it needs a stronger definition.
It has to be defined. Yeah, it has to be defined because we can't
self-murder.
Right.
Or dying.
Yes.
Which is different.
Absolutely. Right. So we can't be a fanatic. Say everybody going to heaven for committing suicide. You don't know where they're going. You have no idea.
I'm just trying to get in heaven. I ain't
you know what I'm saying?
people in hell.
And look at the mentality of some. Just because a man is 25 doesn't make him a full-grown adult mentally. Because there's some people who have not matured in the brain.
No.
Okay? They have not. So then we talk about the age of accountability. We say they say it's the age of 12. Well, I know people who are 12 who are like 3.
Man, when I was 12, I couldn't account. I couldn't spell accountability.
Right, exactly.
Didn't have no ability.
And the church escaped this kind of conversation. It's taboo to them because they just want to send everybody to hell who's not like us.
Because they want simple solutions to difficult problems instead of facing it. And let those mysteries remain that and in the sovereignty of God's decision.
Yeah, that's good. In the sovereignty of God's decision. And again, you don't know where. We don't even know where Whitney Houston went when she died. We have no idea her relationship.
Yeah, because if she said, "Oh my God, Lord, please," whatever she said, in her mind.
Yep, we just don't know. Yeah, so we can't send everybody to hell or heaven.
We need to stop.
We got to stop because at the funeral we send everybody. Notice at the funeral everybody goes to heaven. Everybody at the funeral. Everybody.
Yeah. Except at my daddy's.
Yeah. Oh. Brittany, what you got to say about all that?
Don't cut me over.
Pull that mic down. Pull that mic down.
My daddy today.
Here I got 1 minute.
I think it's pretty interesting how we all seem to deal, or especially African Americans deal with suicide. It's a unique situation for everyone to deal with. And working with the railroad, I see different types.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I rarely see suicides on the Metro Electric line.
Really?
But I'm always seeing it on the other line.
Get out of here.
Wow. So, actually, I've never encountered one on the Metro Electric.
Wow.
I've encountered them in 2 years on every other line.
Wow. Interesting.
I think that women respond emotionally more, and especially African American women, if we decide to go to that extreme.
Yeah.
Which is why sometimes we're not always that successful in getting it done, where other people, they serious about it. Like, they, you know... If we get to that decision, it might just be an emotionally driven
outcry.
Yep,
decision.
That's right. And me and Walter Jr. lived in South Dakota, and we seen it. He witnessed some of his white counterparts, his friends.
Yeah, a friend of mine's on a basketball team, his younger sister actually shot herself in the head.
Yeah. And I saw it in South Dakota. I saw it a lot among the young Caucasian. They just had no, and it didn't matter their social standing. For meaning, many of them were rich.
Yeah, socioeconomic status.
But it has no respect to person suicide.
Well, Don Cornelius, he wasn't broke.
There you go.
But they say he was tired of his pain.
He's tired of his pain.
He was tired of suffering.
Yeah. Hey, Brittany, there's a file called CBS Evening News with Scott. Play that first, then go to Pressure, and that'll get us out of here. Okay. Thank you, Britt, for coming by. Britt, there's two. Let's see that. There's
Britt and Brittany.
Yeah. Walter Jr.
And Brittany.
Thanks, son.
You Britt elbow, you Brittany.
Okay, love you, man. He'll be leaving back tomorrow, Atlanta. So I'm getting all the time I can with him. We're gonna go see his grandmama tonight. And yeah. And go to Spreaker.com and listen to the show again. Share with everybody you can to help the people, educate them. Okay, and pray for those who are having these mental struggles. Don't just lay hands on them and pray and then walk away and never say anything else to them. You know, some people do need to get some counseling and some medicine, and they just need to be taken to another place and time. Okay, all right, and the Lord will do the rest. You one man plant, another man waters,
and God gives the increase.
All right, y'all gotta go. So Walter Jones Show.
We wanted to take a moment to note the passing of Don Cornelius, the creator of Soul Train. He died today in Los Angeles at 75, an apparent suicide. Bill Whitaker tells us that Cornelius was a TV pioneer with a vision and a one-of-a-kind voice.
I'm Don Cornelius, and as always in parting, we wish you love, peace, and soul.
What they do?
Call it soul, rhythm and blues, or urban, Don Cornelius was the man who exposed black music, fashion, and dance not only to an African-American audience, but to all of America's teenagers on TV. Even before MTV, Don Cornelius provided a televised stage for performers to reach a wider audience.
I don't have to introduce any of these fellas. Anybody don't know the names?
The Jackson 5, James Brown, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Aretha Franklin, and Smokey Robinson.
What did he mean to pop culture? He integrated the culture and gave people of all races to see a positive black image.
Born in Chicago in 1936, Don Cornelius started working as an insurance salesman before enrolling in broadcasting school in the 1960s. After a brief stint as a radio journalist, he pursued his true passion and in 1970 started a TV show featuring R&B acts with $400 of his own money. He was inspired by but wouldn't copy the long-running American Bandstand.
If American Bandstand goes right, we're going to go left. If Dick Clark goes up, we're going to go down.
Don was an innovator, and he created something with Soul Train that had never before been there. He really created something wonderful.
I'm Don Cornelius.
Cornelius hosted the show for 23 years, helping transport black music and style from inner city to mainstream America. The journey was by train.
And so,
Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
turn on my phone without being reminded of the lie that I am alone and broken, unsuccessful. And I can't always talk to my friends, 'cause they've got expectations that I may or may not be living up to. I really need to rid myself of the pressure to be someone else that the world has made. Jesus, take from me all the pressure to be someone that you did not create. Help me be me and only see you. Let me decrease in glorify you. Thought my intentions were good, just act like a Christian should and hope that someone watching would approve and be inspired. But if you're not feeling my show, then how far could I go before all of my accomplishments go down in fire? Just 'cause all of the pressure to be someone else that the church has made. Jesus, take from me all the pressure to be someone that you did not create. Help me be me and only see you. Let me decrease in glory.
You've been listening to the Sir Walter Jones radio show, where he provides you with a biblical perspective for your everyday life. Stay connected to Sir Walter Jones by visiting him online at www.sirwalterjones.com or on Facebook at www.facebook.com.